What if I told you your life isn't stuck because of what you're doing, but because of what you're broadcasting? That no matter how many affirmations you say, how many vision boards you make, or how disciplined your routines are, none of it truly matters if your frequency is out of alignment. You could meditate for hours, visualize with clarity, burn every candle under the moon, journal until your hands cramp, and still life would feel like it's looping. Like you're running in place while the world moves without you. Because it's not your effort that creates change, it's your energy. And energy never lies. You've probably felt it. That invisible resistance. Like you're doing everything right, but it's like the universe is ignoring you. Relationships that should feel nourishing feel off. Goals you've set just keep slipping through your fingers. Restlessness. Fatigue. A heaviness that clings to your chest, even when you're surrounded by good things. You might even think, maybe I'm the problem. But that's not the truth. The truth is, your frequency is lying to you. You see, we've been conditioned to focus on surface level change. Say the right things. Think positively. Manifest better. But we were never taught how to tune the actual signal, the deep, vibrational broadcast that shapes every experience, every opportunity, every encounter. And here's the kicker. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your state. Not what you say, but what you are. Not what you think, but what you emit. That's why people get stuck in loops. Not because they're lazy. Not because they're doing it wrong, but because they're still transmitting the same trapped signal that created the very reality they're trying to escape. It's like screaming for help in a language the universe doesn't understand. The Emerald Tablets, ancient inscriptions left by Thoth, the Atlantean priest king, weren't some poetic philosophy. They were technology. Codes. A manual for tuning your consciousness out of distortion and back into alignment. And here's what's wild. The frequency you're on, you didn't choose it. It was inherited, handed to you by the world around you before you ever had the awareness to question it. Passed down through family wounds, societal expectations, educational systems, unhealed ancestors. Layer by layer, you were trained to vibrate small, to settle, to obey, to conform to a reality that was never built for your thriving, only your survival. No one told you that the heaviness you feel isn't depression, it's dissonance. It's the sound of your field screaming for realignment while you pretend everything is fine. And the worst part? You've been taught to blame yourself for it. To believe the lie that if things aren't changing, you're just not doing enough. But that's not the issue. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're simply vibrating in opposition to the life you're trying to create. And that creates friction, not flow. Most people live inside an invisible prison. Not one with bars or guards, but one made of beliefs. Beliefs like, this is just how life is, or be realistic, or don't question too much. You've heard them so many times they become your inner voice, a frequency loop so familiar, you don't even realize it's not yours. But it isn't. It's a broadcast you inherited, and until you change it, you'll keep getting the same reality, no matter how hard you try to change the outside. Your life doesn't shift because you want it to. It shifts when your signal changes, when your frequency becomes coherent, not chaotic. The world doesn't listen to your intentions, it tunes into your field. That's why two people can say the same affirmation, but only one of them manifests what they're calling in. It's not about the words. It's about the resonance behind them. That's the difference between surface change and vibrational transformation. And vibrational transformation isn't always pretty. It's not always incense and sound baths and spiritual playlists. Sometimes it's breaking down. Sometimes it's shaking, crying, purging years of emotional residue. Sometimes it's losing people who can't meet your new frequency and being brave enough to let them go. That's not dysfunction. That's realignment. And when it starts, everything false begins to fall away. But here's the beauty. When you shift internally, life starts organizing itself around your new state. Not because you forced it, but because your energy started singing a different song, and the universe, being musical in nature, began to harmonize with you. Suddenly, conversations feel effortless. Solutions appear without struggle. People show up out of nowhere. Doors open. Not because you earned them, but because you finally match the frequency of the reality where they already exist. Thoth understood this. That's why he said, "As within, so without." He wasn't being poetic. He was describing a law, one that governs this reality whether you believe in it or not. Your field is the blueprint. Reality is the reflection. So if you want to change the outer world, stop rearranging furniture in a burning house. Change the vibration that's setting the fire. And this is where it gets even more real. Consciousness isn't some mystical, abstract concept. It's a dial, a frequency band that dictates what you perceive, what you attract, what you can and can't receive. If your consciousness is tuned to fear, you'll see threats in every opportunity. If it's tuned to scarcity, you'll repel abundance even when it's handed to you. Not because you don't deserve it, but because your field can't hold it. Your beliefs don't just live in your mind, they live in your nervous system. They ripple through your energy field. That's why you can say, "I am abundant," 1,000 times and still feel broke. Because if your body is vibrating fear, if your memories are vibrating lack, if your emotions are vibrating unworthiness, then that's the signal the universe receives. Not the mantra, not the mood board, but the field. And the field doesn't judge. It just matches. Your reality is not personal. It's not out to get you. It's not ignoring you. It's reflecting your current broadcast with exact precision. That's not punishment. It's feedback. And feedback, no matter how uncomfortable, is your portal to freedom if you're willing to decode it. So the question isn't, what do I want? It's what am I emitting? Because the universe isn't listening to your dreams, it's reading your signal. When your signal is fragmented, life feels hard, like you're dragging yourself through molasses. Nothing lands. Projects stall. Conversations feel awkward. You blame yourself, but it's not you. It's the dissonance between who you truly are and the frequency you've been taught to carry. But the moment you shift, the moment you retune, it all begins to move. This is what we teach inside Insights Academy. Not just spiritual inspiration, but vibrational calibration. Not surface advice, but energetic architecture. It's not about escaping life. It's about reclaiming it. At the root level, in your field, in your breath, in your presence. That's the power of tuning. It doesn't manipulate reality, it aligns with it. And when you're in alignment, reality can't help but respond. For a limited time, when you join our free newsletter, you'll receive a copy of the Cyblian, a text designed not to entertain, but to activate. A perspective shifter, a field tuner, a vibrational key to help you unlock the invisible prison you didn't even know you were living in. Because the door, it's always been open. You just forgot how to walk through it. But now you're remembering. And once the remembering begins, the illusion can't hold. You stop trying to fix yourself. You stop fighting with life. You stop forcing, proving, chasing. You start resonating. And when you do, reality bends. Not because of magic, but because of law. When you shift your consciousness, you shift the field around you. And when the field shifts, everything begins to respond. People, opportunities, even time itself bends and realigns. You've probably felt it before in those uncanny, almost magical moments of full alignment. Everything flows. You think of someone and they call. You're speaking your truth and people really hear you. Doors open before you even knock. That's not coincidence. That's coherence. It's what happens when your inner frequency is tuned, your energy is clear, and the field around you has nothing left to resist. You stop pushing to make life happen. Instead, you become a version of yourself that life wants to meet. But coherence isn't a one-time miracle. It's not a switch you flip. It's a tuning process, a practice, a way of being. The moment you tune into a higher vibration, everything that doesn't match it begins to fall away, not always peacefully, but always necessarily. Old identities, outdated beliefs, versions of yourself built from fear or survival begin to crumble. People who once resonated with your frequency might drift, confused by your transformation. This is the cost of alignment. But it's also its deepest gift. Because every time you hold a higher frequency a little longer than the last, your entire field upgrades. Your thoughts get sharper. Your intuition gets louder. Your path becomes clearer. Reality starts rearranging itself to match the clarity you've become. Thoth never said, create reality. He said, tune into it. Why? Because every version of your life, every timeline, every possibility already exists in the field. The life you desire isn't far away. It's vibrating on a different frequency. And once you match that frequency, you don't have to chase your dreams. You become them. And everything else, people, circumstances, timing, has no choice but to respond. Emotion plays a vital role in this tuning. Emotion isn't weakness. It's not chaos to be controlled or suppressed. Emotion is frequency in motion. It's how your field speaks, how it attracts, how it transforms. Every emotion you feel is like a tuning fork, either pulling your energy into alignment or scattering it into confusion. Thoth understood this long before we had language for it. He didn't fear emotion, he revered it. Because emotion, more than thought alone, imprints your field with clarity or distortion. This is why positive thinking sometimes fails. You can think happy thoughts all day long, but if the emotional current behind those thoughts is rooted in fear or doubt, the universe doesn't hear your affirmations, it hears your frequency. You can smile while anxious. You can speak confidently while your energy whispers insecurity. But energy doesn't lie. The field doesn't respond to performance. It responds to resonance. We've been taught to treat our emotions as personal, fleeting, or inconvenient. But they're not just private feelings. They're energetic transmissions. Carry resentment? It warps your field, tainting how others experience you and how the world responds to you. Guilt? It lowers your energetic baseline until you unconsciously start manifesting punishment. Suppressed anger? It distorts the heart, the voice, the breath. It creates pressure in the body and noise in the field. Every emotional frequency leaves a trace, and the field remembers what we try to forget. This is what Thoth meant by the inner fire. Not rage, but the raw, purifying energy that builds when you stop suppressing your truth. It's the force that burns away density, that transforms emotion into clarity. This is emotional alchemy. Feeling without collapsing, observing without reacting, allowing without judgment. When you let emotion rise and move through you, your field updates. The energy integrates, and the distortion clears, not because you fixed it, but because you felt it. Most of us were never taught how to feel safely. We were taught to manage, to cope, to numb, to silence our sadness, to convert our fear into control, to wear strength like armor instead of truth like presence. The result? A fragmented field, full of competing frequencies and unresolved layers. We wonder why peace won't stick, why we feel tired, foggy, scattered. It's because our emotional body is holding on to signals we never let complete their cycle. To realign your field, you must reclaim your emotional body, not to drown in it, but to liberate it. Start by listening. No fixing, no analysis, just presence. Let the emotion move through you like a wave. Breathe. Stay. Watch. When you stop resisting the feeling, when you allow it without attaching to it, the energy shifts. That's the difference between emotional reactivity and emotional alchemy. One locks the vibration in place. The other releases it. Emotions live in the body, in your posture, your breath, your cells. That's why old pain echoes even when the story is gone, because you don't just think you're past, you still vibrate it. And clearing that vibration doesn't happen through logic. It happens through presence. It happens when you allow the energy to rise, to express, to release, and then return to stillness. Thoth's teachings weren't about becoming emotionally void monks. They were about becoming masters of energy. And emotion is part of the energy field. The heart generates a magnetic field more powerful than the brain. It sends signals wider than words. When you feel love, not just think it, but feel it in your body, your field expands. When you embody gratitude, truth, compassion, your frequency harmonizes. That's when you become magnetic. That's when reality responds. Not because you forced it, but because you matched it. The most powerful emotions aren't the loudest. They're the cleanest. When your emotional field is clear, your vibration rises effortlessly. You stop manifesting from desire and start aligning from truth. You stop pushing and start allowing. Life begins to organize around the clarity you've become. Nothing in the universe sustains chaos forever. Everything seeks rhythm, harmony, balance. But most people don't give themselves enough stillness to return to it. We mistake busyness for healing. We confuse emotional chaos with growth. We chase highs, avoid lows, and call it transformation. But it's not. Balance isn't perfection. It's not detachment or emotional numbness. True balance is the quiet power that comes when your thoughts, feelings, and energy stop warring with each other. It's the stillness that exists within, even when the world is shaking. That's the foundation Thoth spoke of. Not forced calm, but grounded coherence. When your frequency is balanced, you're not immune to fear or doubt. You just stop living from them. You can feel them without collapsing, witness them without amplifying. And from that calm center, everything else recalibrates. Decisions sharpen, intuition deepens, your reactions soften. You stop swinging between emotional extremes. You become the center point. And the universe, being vibrational by nature, responds. Here's the tricky part though. Imbalance is seductive. The drama, the emotional volatility, the stimulation, it keeps your nervous system activated and your energy leaking. It feels like motion, but it's just noise. So when you first start choosing inner balance, it can feel boring, like something's missing. But that emptiness, that's not boredom. That's space. Space your soul has been craving. Space your field needs to stabilize. It's the quiet where your truest signal finally gets heard. When you begin to stabilize your frequency, people around you may feel the shift. Some may pull away. Some may say you've changed, that you seem distant, different, too calm. And they're not wrong. Your new vibration no longer matches their old patterns. Your coherence reveals their dissonance. Your presence becomes a mirror. And not everyone is ready to look. But that's not your problem to fix. Your work isn't to dim down for comfort. It's to shine with truth, to hold your signal, to resonate. Thoth taught that when your field is coherent, reality organizes around you. You don't move obstacles, they dissolve. You don't force progress, it flows. Patterns unravel, delays unclog. The life you used to struggle for now responds to you with ease, because you're no longer resonating with the chaos you once normalized. And the beauty is, this shift doesn't take strain. It takes awareness. Most people think balance is something to chase, but it's not. It's what naturally returns when you stop disturbing it. It's already inside you, underneath the noise, underneath the patterns, underneath the fear. It returns the moment you stop trying to fix yourself and start listening. Your emotions aren't the problem. Your thoughts aren't broken. It's the resistance between them that creates the storm. And when you stop fighting what you feel, when you stop fearing what you think, you return to center. From that center, life meets you in a completely different way. Not because you control it, but because you've stopped opposing it. Inner balance isn't passive. It's not indifferent. It's the silent signal the universe listens to. It doesn't scream. It doesn't convince. It resonates. And when your field holds steady, reality has no choice but to match. This is what it means to live in alignment with the laws of the universe, to become the eye of the storm, to radiate peace in a world addicted to chaos, to be so deeply rooted in your center that anything not aligned simply falls away. And once you've touched that kind of clarity, not as an escape, but as a home, you'll never go back. Not because you've risen above life, but because you've remembered who you truly are beneath all the noise. Thoth knew this before science caught up. He didn't just write in ink, he wrote in rhythm, in resonance, in frequency. His words weren't just teachings. They were codes, activations. When he said, "Sing thou the song of freedom," he wasn't being poetic. He was offering a key. Because sound isn't just heard, it's emitted. Every word you speak is a command to your field. Every feeling is a frequency. Every moment, you're tuning your reality. And the more aligned your frequency becomes, the less you have to chase. You stop performing. You start embodying. And life? It meets you there, fully, fiercely, faithfully. Every breath you take is not just air, it's an energetic adjustment. A subtle tuning to the frequency you're holding in that exact moment. And every pause, every silence is a sacred return to source. Most people move through life unaware that they're literally shaping their reality with their voice. They speak against themselves without knowing it. They echo fears. They recycle outdated beliefs that were never truly theirs. Then they wonder why life feels heavy, blocked, confusing. But the truth, you're always casting spells. Your words, your tone, your breath, this is frequency in action. You are not just speaking, you're creating, sculpting, vibrating reality into form. We've been taught to focus on content, to choose words carefully based on meaning. But the universe, it's not responding to your words. It's responding to your vibration underneath them. Sound is not just noise, it's geometry in motion. A silent, invisible architecture. If you've ever seen cymatics, you've seen sound make water dance into perfect symmetrical forms. That's not poetic metaphor. That's literal evidence. Vibration creates form, not the other way around. Which means your voice, your literal tone, carries power. Every sentence is a broadcast, a command, a signal, and that signal is either liberating you or limiting you. This is why you can feel when someone is lying, even before the words register. It's why one person's voice can soothe you and another's can drain the life out of you. It's not the message, it's the frequency. The field, this ever-responsive energy around you, doesn't care about the cleverness of your language. It listens for coherence, for resonance, for truth. That's why practices like chanting, humming, or even just speaking your truth out loud can shift everything. These aren't spiritual gimmicks. They're tools, frequency tools. When used with presence, your voice has the power to recalibrate your field. It turns static into signal. It creates clarity in the chaos. Your vocal cords aren't just for communication, they're instruments. And when you play them with intention, you don't just speak, you align. You reorganize your energy. Then there's breath. Oh, breath. The first sound you ever made. The rhythm that's been playing in the background since day one. Most people breathe by default, shallow, tight, distracted. But breath is life force. It's the bridge between thought and body, between consciousness and the field. Controlled breathing isn't a trend, it's ancient, sacred technology. Inhale with presence, and you charge your energy. Exhale with release, and you clear distortion. The way you breathe influences everything. Your nervous system, your mind, your emotions. And all of that affects your vibration. The mystics and teachers of old knew this. Thoth didn't teach people to breathe deeper. He taught them to breathe awake. Awake to this moment. Awake to the body. Awake to the now. Because when you breathe with awareness, your whole field shifts. Conscious breath brings you into consciousness. It aligns your internal world with your external one. And that's where real power begins. But beyond breath and sound, there's a third element. Often ignored, often misunderstood. Silence! Silence isn't emptiness. It's origin. It's where vibration begins. The womb of sound. The place before energy becomes form. Silence is terrifying for many because it strips away distractions. It leaves you with yourself. But that's exactly why it's sacred. In silence, your energy stops scattering. Your field comes back home. The noise fades. And the real signal, your inner truth, finally has space to speak. Most people don't know how to sit in silence. They fear it. But it's new. Silence doesn't give you answers. It puts you in the frequency where the answers already live. And from that space, you don't chase clarity, you become it. Silence calibrates you to the truth beneath the words. It doesn't hide anything. It reveals everything. So now, you've got the Trinity. Sound, breath, silence. These aren't accessories to your practice. They are the core technologies of energetic mastery. They tune you, align you, reset you. When used intentionally, they don't just help you survive, they help you generate reality. Your body plays a massive role in this. It's not just a container. It's not a problem to fix or a machine to push. Your body is vibrational technology. It's alive, responsive, intelligent. Every part of you is holding frequency, not just thoughts or emotions, but the way your shoulders carry tension, the way your jaw stays tight, the way you brace yourself unconsciously. These aren't just physical postures. They're energetic imprints, echoes of beliefs, traumas, memories, most of which aren't even yours. You can meditate for hours, journal pages of insight, reframe all your thoughts, but if your body is still locked in the old frequency, none of it sticks. You stay fragmented, disconnected. That's why embodiment isn't optional, it's essential. Integration doesn't live in the mind. It lives in the body, in how you breathe, in how you walk into a room, in how you speak, in how you simply stand. There's a difference between knowing you're powerful and feeling it in your spine. A difference between talking about alignment and actually walking as alignment. Your body holds the frequency before your mind ever catches up. That's why movement is medicine, not forced performance, not punishment, just pure, intuitive motion. Let yourself stretch, shake, still, breathe. Let the body lead. It already knows the way back to coherence if you stop overriding it. Healing isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's about remembering. Letting your body remember what it means to feel safe, to feel sacred. And safety doesn't come from control, it comes from presence, from consistency, from awareness without judgment. Regulating your nervous system, that's vibrational work. You can't manifest clearly when your body is braced for attack. You can't attract peace from a place of panic. You can't hold truth when your chest is collapsed in protection. So start with your body. Let it soften. Let it open. Let it speak. Because when your body aligns, your frequency stabilizes. And when your frequency stabilizes, the universe finally gets the message. You're ready. Ready to not just receive, but to sustain. To hold the frequency long enough for it to become real. That's the missing piece. Most people don't fail because they're weak. They wobble because they haven't integrated. They rise for a few days, feel amazing, and then crash back into old patterns. And they call it failure. But it's not. It's just fragmentation. The new frequency didn't root deeply enough. Not because it wasn't real, but because it wasn't sustained. This work isn't about hype. It's about holding the vibration until your nervous system stops resisting it, until your energy field believes you, until your mind stops doubting and starts following. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you consistently stabilize, what you embody, what you are. This is the path of the architect, the one who remembers you were never the creation. You were always the creator. You were never just reacting to life. You were always generating it. Not from effort, but from signal. Because frequency doesn't beg. It commands. It doesn't shout. It radiates. And when your signal is clean, clear, and aligned, life listens. The right people show up without being summoned. The right opportunities open without being forced. The timing feels effortless, not because you got lucky, but because you finally stopped vibrating like a seeker and started vibrating like a sovereign. You stopped asking for signs and became the signal. And sure, not everything will rise with you. That's okay. Some people, patterns, even identities will fall away. That's not punishment, it's elevation. The field clears space when you rise. Let it. Let what's no longer in resonance fade, because what comes in its place is so much more aligned, so much more you. This is the shift most never sustain. They flirt with change. They dabble in insight, but they don't embody. You're different. You're not just consuming teachings. You're activating them. You're not performing high vibration. You're becoming it. And once you do, once you really tune into this way of living, your presence alone begins to shift the room. Your silence speaks louder than words. Your breath becomes a boundary. Your voice becomes a lighthouse. Your vibration becomes your message. This is the real work. This is vibrational authorship. The moment you stop tweaking your life and start rewriting the field itself. Not by force, but by frequency. Not by doing more, but by being differently. You are not here to follow reality. You are here to architect it. And now that you remember, there's no going back.